Hello, today we're going to be talking about the major and minor scale. And it's actually one of the, I think the easiest things to understand after we understand the concept of half steps and whole steps. Once again, a half step is the smallest unit of measurement in Western music, and two half steps make a whole step. Now, scale is scala in Italian, and it just means to climb. It's a ladder. And Western music has come accustomed to two scale sonorities in particular. The first one that we're going to study is major. And we're going to be using musictheory.net, a really great site that we'll be using in class a lot, to talk about major scales. The best way to think of a scale is that it has a formula. And that formula is simple. It's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So whatever note we start on, we follow this formula. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So in this particular case, we'll be following the major scale, starting on C. And then going to the next note, D, then up a whole step to E. Now, if you notice between the piano, it will go up a half step to F, and then to G, and then a whole step to A whole step to B, and finally a half step between B and C. Now, if we run through this quickly again, whole step, look between the piano of E and F, you have a half step, so we only go up a half step. Whole step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B, and a half step to C. Thus, our major scale. We're going to start building a scale on E flat. And the important thing to remember here is that we live in a world of diatonicism. And diatonicism, to refresh your memory, is that consecutive scale degrees receive consecutive letter names. So some E is going to be followed by some kind of F, is going to be followed by some kind of G. That's what a scale is. It's diatonic in Western music. We always follow that rule. There is no exceptions in terms of scales. Once we get into chromaticism and other things, then we break that rule. But scales are diatonic. So here we go. A major scale starting on E flat. Well, between E flat and F on the piano is a whole step. Notice we didn't go up to this E right here. We went all the way up to F, which is a whole step. Now, where's the next whole step going to be? It's going to be to G. It's not to A double flat, because that wouldn't be diatonic. We wouldn't go F, A double flat. We go F, G. Now we have our first half step, because remember, our pattern, our formula is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So between scale degrees 3 and 4, there's a half step. And between scale degrees 7 and 8, there's a half step. So here we are, scale degree number 3. Now we have to go up a half step. And for the first time, we need to use a chromatic scale figure, a flat, to make it a half step away from G. If we had made it A natural, it'd be a whole step. Now we have to go up another whole step, and look on your piano here between A flat and G, there's only a half step. But between, A flat and this note, there's only a half step. So we have to go all the way up to B flat to make a whole step. And another whole step wouldn't be this note, B, it'd be C natural. You can see there's a whole step between those two notes. And then another note would be D, and finally finishing off the scale, a half step away would be E flat. There is your E flat major scale. Let's do one more, starting on D. D would be followed by what diatonic whole step coming next? That's right, E. Now, the next diatonic whole step wouldn't be F, because that's only a half step away. Look, between E and F, there's only a half step. So instead, we have to make it F sharp. if some of you might be asking, why isn't it G flat, which is the same enharmonic note? Because we live in a world of, that's right, diatonicism. D, E, and E has to be followed by some sort of F, and in this case it's F sharp. A half step away from F sharp is G, a whole step away is A whole step away from that is B. Now we get to B again, and we have to go a whole step up. It wouldn't be C, it'd be C sharp, and a half step away from C sharp is D. This is Major Scales Lesson 2. Just using the piano as a reference again, we're going to build a major scale on F. So what would be a whole step above F? Would it be this note? Well, no, that's a half step away. 2 half steps make a whole step. It would be G. And if we made another whole step above, whole, it would be an A. Now, between our third and fourth scale degrees, we need a half step. In this case, it would be B flat. Now, we need a whole step between the fourth and fifth scale degrees. Wouldn't be B natural, it would be, that's right, C. Between fifth and sixth scale degrees, we need a whole step. That's right, D. And between 6 and 7, we need another whole step. That would be right, E. And we're lucky enough that between the 7th and the 8th scale degree, we don't have to do much. We just go right back to F. So as you can see, the F major scale only has one flat, and that is B flat. Okay? And just to make sure you know that I'm not lying, that sounds like a major scale to us. Let's do one more. Let's do one more that's a little tricky. Excuse me. Starting on D flat. D flat, it's just like any other major scale. It follows the same rules. Whole, half, whole, half. So between D flat and E flat is a whole step. Between E flat and E natural, no, that wouldn't be a whole step. E flat and F, whole step. Now between F and G, there's a whole step, but that's not what we need between the third and fourth scale degrees. We need a flat, or we need to have a half step, excuse me. And in this case, it would be G flat. So checking our diatonicism. D flat is followed by E flat, is followed by F, is followed by G flat. So our diatonicism is in check, and our scale is coming along. So between the fourth and fifth scale degree, we need a whole step, that would be here. Between 5 and 6, we need a whole step, that would be here. Between 6 and 7, we need a whole step, and that would be here. And between 7 and 8, we need a half step, and that would be here. So our D flat major scale is D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C natural, and D flat. And let's play that so you know that we are correct. So welcome to minor scales. Minor scales are a lot like major scales. They just follow a pattern of half steps and whole steps, but they give a different aural result. I like the way that musictheory.net described it, which is while there is one major scale, there are 3 variations of the minor scale that exist. And the way I like to prefer it is that there's actually one minor scale and 2 variations, and I'll show you what I mean. The first minor scale we'll discuss is natural minor. So the way that's constructed is whole, half, whole, half, whole. So instead of whole, half, which is the major version, this is whole, half, whole. It'll get a little easier. If we start on an A, and you can see on the piano over there, we start on an A, and we go up a whole step, that's to B. And if we go up a half step, that's just to C. And then a whole step to D. What's a whole step above D? An E. What is a half step above E? That is an F. A whole step above F is a G, and a whole step above A, oh, excuse me, of G is an A. So again, it fits perfectly our pattern. Now we're going to start on a different note, and it's going to make it look a little weird. There's going to be some accidentals in here, but the same ingredients apply. We'll start in G sharp. A whole step above G sharp is an A sharp. Again, sticking to diatonicism, which of course you know is consecutive scale degrees. This being the second consecutive scale degree, is receives consecutive letter names. Consecutive scale degrees receive consecutive letter names. Then we go up a half step to B, a whole step to C sharp, a whole step to D sharp. What's a half step above D sharp would be E. A whole step above E would be F sharp, and finally a whole step above F sharp would be back to G sharp. And this is our natural G sharp minor scale. We're just going to keep going on. This is a C minor scale. Same exact ingredients apply, recipe applies. Takes us up to a D, the second scale degree. The third scale degree is a half step above the D, which is E flat. E flat to F, whole step above F is G. Half step above G would be not A natural, but A flat. A whole step above A flat, well, it wouldn't be B, because that would be too far. It'd be B flat, and a whole step above B flat would be C. And there is our C minor scale. All right. So here we come to what is known as the harmonic minor scale. The harmonic minor scale is just a variation of the natural minor scale. It really just does one thing different, and it's very, very simple. I always think in terms of the natural minor scale. I don't even really think about the harmonic minor or later the melodic minor. I really just think about the natural minor scale with there being some little variations. So if you look at the scale degrees here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all we're going to do is take that 7th scale degree and raise it up a half step. So just to put that flat back, and then we're going to raise it up a half step, and that's it. And so there is your harmonic minor scale. So anytime you can write a natural minor scale, all you do is take a look at the 7th scale degree and raise it up a half step. Sometimes raising it up a half step will mean adding a sharp. Sometimes it will mean adding a natural. Sometimes it will actually mean adding a flat. Sometimes it will mean adding a double sharp. Okay? So that's it. That's the harmonic minor scale. Now the melodic minor scale is a bit different. We are looking right now here at the natural minor scale. And instead of just raising the 7th, we're going to raise the 6th and the 7th scale degree. Again, here's the natural version, here's the melodic version. Okay? This portion of the melodic scale is called the ascending melodic minor scale. And when we are descending, we use the natural version. And I will show you that more in detail in our next lesson.